The show had to go on. The all-important piece in the armoury against ITV was ready. For the BBC, the 6th of July 1992 really mattered. Eldorado had to succeed. At 7 p.m, head-to-head against a special edition of Coronation Street, Eldorado went on air. Ranged against Corrie's regulars were the local baddie, Marcus Tandy.
It's not my fault!
Hey, morning, Doc.
Expats, the Lockheads.
Oh, rain forecast all this week. At home.
This is home.
Colourful Trish and her toy boy lover, Dieter.
Look, I work bloody hard for my money, and what for? So you can spend it on some pasty-faced little scrubber from, where was it? Wolverhampton?
Spinster and busybody Olive King.
Church. Sacrilege.
Now, you shouldn't say that. My faith is very important to me.
Restaurateur Bunny and his new friend.
This is Fizz, my wife.
All right.
As well as 15 other characters. And the concept of foreign languages without subtitles.
Hej skat, hvad laver du her?
Jeg vil bare sige, der er frokost lige om lidt.
Vi bliver nødt til at spille det her spil færdigt. Isn't that so, Drew?
Okay.
The next day, executives at Television Centre were relieved to learn that despite Coronation Street, over 8 million viewers watched the first episode.
A soap has a key role to play in any schedule. Popular drama can draw people to a network early in the evening, and you hope that they will stay, and you can introduce other programmes to them on the back of the soap. It works superbly with EastEnders, and Eldorado was one of those audience connection points which would draw people to the channel and encourage them to stay with us.
Now everyone waited to see how much support the new mega soap would get from the press.
The Independent, always interesting for a soap. The central figures may be drawn from a broad spectrum, but they don't resemble real people anywhere near as closely as they resemble characters from a soap opera on holiday.
I wasn't quite ready. It was vitriolic. I mean, they were pretty horrendous.
The Guardian said that Eldorado goes straight for the young, drunk vote with a directness that leaves you winded. It has the look of a situation comedy whose laughter track has been lost.
They weren't thinking. They were just, let's hit, let's hit, let's hit. And they did hit, and it did hurt.
Telegraph was interesting. They said, as for sun, sex and sangria, Eldorado looks set to be about as sexy as a cold suet pudding.
I didn't give a toss about that, to be honest. I really didn't give a toss. I mean, when someone says you're bad, OK, you're bad, and you just think, well, that's your opinion.
The Sun, our friends at the Sun. The characters are such rip-offs of Albert Square and other soap hits that viewers risk being done for receiving stolen goods. That's a tad unfair.
I don't think even then, even when the reviews were bad, that we worried unduly. We just thought, this is what happens to soaps, and we'll prove them wrong, and eventually people will watch us, and it'll work. And anyway, they've spent all this money. We've been promised 2 years, or we thought we had 2 years. The Titanic will turn.
There was a turn, only it was a turn for the worse. At the end of the first week, only 5 million viewers returned for more. Week by week, the figures continued to fall. Until 6 weeks in, and only 2.8 million washed up on the shores of the Costa Eldorado. Viewers abandoned the sun, sea, sex and sangria in their millions. The BBC wanted to prove that Eldorado could succeed. The first head was about to roll. It was the producers.
I remember arriving on set one day and someone said, Julia Smith's left. I remember that. It was kind of like, where were you when JFK, you know? I thought, what? She's left? What do you mean she's left?
And then we were told eventually that Julia wasn't well, and that we would be having a new producer, that she needed to rest.
I felt sorry for her because she was always committed, she was always dedicated, and she did work very hard at the beginning to try and make this programme work, and I I was very sad, the way it happened to her and how it affected her. I mean, I don't think she ever really recovered from what happened to her.
Tony Holland would stay for now.
I was very shocked that she was sacked. I felt I had to stay, but she wasn't there.
Tony would now have to work with Julia's replacement, former EastEnders producer Corinne Hollingworth. They were charged with winning back the millions of viewers the BBC needed.
There were such obvious problems with it that I couldn't make it any worse.
You shake my nose and you rattle my brain. Too much of love drives a man insane. You broke my will. Oh, what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Some of the acting was execrable. I couldn't believe that they had gone ahead with having scenes played in foreign languages with no subtitles. It didn't know what it was and what it wanted to be. Was it a, you know, a light, frothy sitcom, or was it actually going to be about character?
Oh, excuse me.
You said you mended it. What am I going to do?
There were some brave decisions. I think the whole Fizz and Bunny issue, to have an elderly man with a young woman like that.
You better stay in bed till then.
The basic relationship was flawed, and on screen looked unpleasant, looked unhealthy, and you know, there was no way, I didn't think, that the audience was ever really going to engage with that particular story.
Is there anything, you know, special you like?
Oh, no. I'll leave it up to you.
17-year-old Kathy Pitkin, who played Fizz, was sacked. But that was only the start. Corinne set her sights on the rest of the cast as their contracts came up for renewal.
Mass slaughter.
A gloomy silence descended on the set as the cast waited nervously to find out who was on Corinne's hit list.
There was a very morbid sort of feeling around because nobody really spoke. And then it was my turn as well, so I walked in. And I was told that basically my character Dieter would not teach windsurfing in the winter.
Six others followed in Kai's footsteps, their dreams of soap stardom in tatters.
It was a little sad that day. It was a little sad. There was a lot of people in tears. But what can you do?
At his flat in Fuengirola, Tony Holland felt vulnerable and depressed as his creation floundered.
I used to walk around the balcony and the room, sort of trying to think of ways where something could be re-edited, but it got more and more hard to make it convincing. You know, that wasn't my little England. There were moments when I just couldn't handle it, when I thought, you know, you can't give of your best here.
Tony resigned and returned to Britain, a broken man.
He wrote to me a very articulate letter about why he just didn't feel that he could carry on. He was so allied with what it had been, and we were trying to mutate it into something else. And you either have to commit 150%, or you have to get out. And I think he just didn't have the stamina.